Hello, and welcome to Love, Light, and Healing with Colette Lopane Capella. I'm Colette Lopane Capella, a licensed mental health counselor, Reiki practitioner, EMDR therapist, and healer. I am founder and director of New Day Vitality located in Larchmont, New York, where we provide a holistic, alternative approach to psychotherapy, counseling, and we offer individual, couples, group, family, as well as Reiki energy healing and EMDR therapy. I'm excited to have this opportunity to bring this show to the public and the beautiful community of Larchmont and Mamaroneck. A little bit about me: I'm a wife, a fur mommy, an entrepreneur, and a true healer at heart. I've been practicing for many years and have had the profound honor of being a part of so many beautiful journeys to wellness and helping individuals live and be the best version of themselves, mind, body, and spirit. This show is to bring together the mind, body, and spirit through love and light, wellness, and healing. This show will be informative, helpful, and fun. So sit back and relax and enjoy all the beauty this show will offer you. Each episode, we will bring on an expert guest to discuss important different topics that bridge the mind, body, and spirit, and the beauty of when it's all tied in together. Experts will vary from energy healers, crystal healers, psychiatrists, teachers, doctors, therapists, psychologists, psychics, mediums, yogis, and all healers, or light workers, as I like to call them. On today's episode, our first episode, we have the honor of having my mentor, guru of Reiki, Shima Shavit, Reiki master and owner of Infinite Possibilities and Universal Healing Arts, and truly a beautiful light worker in soul. Welcome, Shima. Thank you for being part of the show and the introduction of our first episode. I'm excited, honored to have you a part of this amazing opportunity to wellness for our viewers, as you have and always will be truly an inspiration to me and so many. Alternative and holistic medicine has been a huge trend lately, although it's been around forever, and integrated in so many practices as well as our own. So excited to have you on today's episode to discuss these topics even further. Welcome, my friend.
Colette, thank you so much. I'm very honored that you would ask me to be part of this, especially your first episode.
Which is so exciting. I couldn't have anyone better.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell the viewers a little bit about who you are, how you've come to this beautiful space, and the divine healer that you are.
Thank you.
Of course.
Many years ago, believe it or not, I worked in corporate America. I had the suit, the matching heels, the briefcase. I was vice president of a corporation. And it was the kind of job that consumed you 7 days a week. Wow. And I actually called a friend of mine and I said to her, please find me a diversion. I need something else in my life. And she called me a few days later and she said, there's an energy healing course at Westchester Community College. And I said, a what? I said, you want me to do what? And she said, you have to go. I paid for it already.
Wow.
And I actually went and I had the distinct honor of studying with Jean Krakel from AmazingHealer.com. And it's a friendship that still continues. Amazing. And after that, Wainwright House had a Reiki master who was offering Reiki. And by this time, my interest was so piqued into this field. And I actually went and met with Libby Barnett. And she actually studied with one of the original 22 Reiki masters that was taught in this country in 1973. And I had an incredible journey with her.
How amazing. How profound.
Yes.
Beautiful. And that was fate. It was meant to be.
Absolutely.
The universe was speaking in and telling you this was the path that you were supposed to go on.
And everything changed. Everything changed. It's an incredible journey.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. That's amazing. I love it. Love it. I also kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about Reiki and energy healing, and how do you kind of describe that and explain that to our viewers?
Energy healing, when I studied with Jean, was really about intention, about love. And that is what you do, and you learn to feel the energy.
Yep.
and to be able to give that to another person. It's also about self-love,
Yes.
because you can't offer what you don't have.
Exactly.
And
Wear my rose quartz all the time.
that's right. And Reiki is very much the same thing. What separates Reiki from other healing modalities is what they call the attunement process.
Okay.
Where you bring universal life force energy into the human energy field of the person who wants to pursue this journey.
Wow.
And that's really the difference.
The difference, yeah.
But
it's still quite similar in some ways,
Yes.
right? But there's also distinct. I think even some of the symbols are different.
Well, in Reiki, there
depending
are
on-
symbols
Yep.
that you learn. It's dialing up the universal life force energy and how to do that.
Yep.
It's incredible. Just talking about it.
Gives you the chills, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Feel it all around. So how does energy healing, Reiki, Reiki healing, let's call it Reiki, create wellness and balance for someone?
Reiki creates balance. I'll give you an example. If you have somebody on the table, and I don't know how much you know about the chakras, I'm sure from taking my class you know a lot.
Not at all. Yep. From you, of course. I'm an expert now.
Right, so there are 7 chakras associated with our different levels of consciousness. And the first one opens when we're children, and then continue to open sequentially. And what happens is the chakras contain all of our information, all of our programming, everything we love, we hate, our successes, our failures. And what happens if any one of those chakras get blocked, it causes mental, emotional, and physical disease.
Yep.
And when you are doing Reiki for someone, what you're doing is you are aligning the chakras.
Creating
and
that
you're,
balance.
Yep, and you're creating that balance for the
Yeah.
person on the table.
How would you ask or tell someone to work towards unblocking like a chakra? Like what could they maybe do on their own time, if they're not coming in for like a Reiki session or something?
Chakras are really, to unblock a chakra, it's about awareness.
Okay.
And it's about how much denial you have about who you are or what's going on. Because the chakras close or don't open fully if there's no self-honesty.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where mindfulness comes in.
Yes.
It's an understanding that you are one with everything around you, and being able to accept who you are. None of us are perfect. We don't come down here rendered white as snow.
Nope.
And it's really, I tell people to journal.
Yes.
It's really important. We live in a society that is so hectic and so stressful.
Yes.
But people have got to find the 5 minutes
Yes.
to really
be.
write and
Yeah.
connect, with themselves. How much that can help somebody unblock a chakra really depends on where they are in their own personal journey.
That's very true. It's interesting. I also tell people a lot of times in psychotherapy, one of the biggest things is that we talk about healthy coping skills is to journal. Breathing exercises and journaling. Those are like the ones that I always advocate for.
Right.
And I always tell people journaling just creates such a balance and intuitive awareness of where you are, what you're going, what you need, what you're looking for, and just by putting it out on paper.
Exactly. And Reiki, by the way, is about truth.
Yes.
So I could have somebody in a chair or on the table and put my hands on them, and that truth, comes forward.
Yeah, which
It's very
she's
healing.
done for me is amazing. So how long does it usually take you to see, and I know it varies depending on the person, the situation, what they're bringing forward, even in my practice, but how long would you say it takes to see improvement with Reiki?
I've had situations where it's been instantaneous.
Okay.
Sometimes the next day.
Wow.
When you're doing Reiki, if you understand that you're only conduit, and you have to keep your ego out of it. And when you're doing Reiki, what happens is the energy that you are bringing in, the universal life force energy, goes to the person's highest priority.
Wow. So for some, it could be the next day they're calling you and saying, I feel absolutely amazing, right? Or others, they might have to come back depending on what's blocked and the shock.
You never know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes people come and they really believe that it's one issue. and then something else completely different happens.
Yep.
And that's why you can't get attached,
Yeah.
because you really don't know what someone's personal journey is.
Yeah.
But to have the ability to dial up that energy, which is really what you do with Reiki, is an incredible gift.
It really is. And I want you to share with the viewers too what we often say, because you've said this before, when people walk out of your office, what do they feel like?
Floating.
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 And it's funny because the first time you said this to me, I'm like, wait, what does that mean? And then I walked out of your office and I was like, Zen, the universe is open up. It was amazing.
Right.
I want you to kind of share a little bit with the viewers, like what has been your most amazing experience through your energy work, through Reiki?
I have to say
question.
that the most amazing experiences for me are the ones where people really have an outcome that's positive. To really, I'm so in awe sometimes of how it works. And to truly understand that I'm a conduit, it doesn't come from me. No ego again, and I tell this to my students 100 times.
All the time.
No ego, no ego. Do not get attached to outcomes.
Yep.
But something always happens. When you put your hands on somebody, something always happens.
Yeah.
That's positive.
Always.
So every experience that I have with a client it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Beautiful. Every single one, it has the different levels of what you're experiencing with them and what they're experiencing and taking from it.
And it's also healing for yourself when you do it.
Yeah.
Because you're not using your own energy.
Nope.
So you should never walk away from it feeling like you're gonna pass out.
Exactly.
So it's healing for the person, and it's healing for myself as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. I have to be honest. I think since I've kind of like, I guess the logical part of me, right, is like that trained, what we talked about that time,
Right.
the trained psychotherapist, right, and it's all about the clinical aspects. And once I really started opening up who intuitively I really am, the authentic self, this mind, body, this spirituality awakening.
Absolutely.
I felt this calmness that I've never experienced. It was like everything sat together so well, like a puzzle piece, and
Right.
I just could be, and felt good about it.
And you know, when the chakras are open, it raises your level of intuitiveness and of your surroundings, and it gives you a better understanding of the next level.
Yes.
So it's really, it's
beautiful.
just nothing like,
Very
very
sacred.
beautiful.
How about, let's talk about what kind of results can be expected. For instance, when you're doing like physiologically, what might somebody kind of feel in result-wise if they're coming to you and saying, like, medically, I have this pain in my knee, right? What might they feel kind of like a physical change a little bit?
Some people feel heat.
Yep.
Although I also tell my students, it doesn't matter what they feel, don't get involved in heat and colds. And because, you know, it's interesting, sometimes it feels like when the doctor tells you 20 minutes hot, 20 minutes cold, it could be the same thing.
Yep.
Some people, because, you know, you're trying to pull, when you're dealing with a knee problem, what happens is people actually can feel
Yeah.
like it being, whatever it is, being pulled out.
Or released. Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting sometimes when I'm doing it too, and I'll put my hand over someone, I'll feel the heat. Initially, when I first started to, immediately, and I'd pull back my hand and be like, "Whoa!" And did you feel it? They're like, "Yeah." It's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about some fun stuff. Well, this is all fun, but even more fun stuff. Let's keep going. Crystals, Palo Santo, sage. You know that I love all this great stuff.
I know you do.
I love it all. Let's talk a little bit about that. Do you use crystals?
Well, I use crystals. It's not mandatory in a Reiki healing to use crystals, although they can be very powerful.
Yes.
I had a wonderful experience with you putting moldavite on your forehead.
Yeah.
And, you know, sage, white sage, is supposed to cleanse a room. So when you're doing a healing, first of all, you have a plant, because plants absorb negative energy.
There we go.
There we go.
In my office too, all over.
Right.
And yours.
And, you know, the sage cleanses the room. And in between clients, it's always recommended to sage
Yes.
to keep everything, you know, pure.
Yes.
And Palo Santo is often used. I know you love that, right?
Sacred, my favorite.
Often used for heavier densities
Yes.
of energy.
Yes.
So, you know, it really, it depends on what you like.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with crystals. You know, if you understand the chakra system and the colors, you know, you can get very involved in the different crystals and the colors. And, you know, if I'm working on someone's seventh chakra, I may take an amethyst.
Yes.
You know, because it opens up
That's what I often
that
wear
whole
too.
gateway to other dimensions, their
Yes.
spirituality. And sometimes it's wonderful for the person, too.
Yeah.
You know, just to know there's something extra.
There's something, yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're bringing everything out. You get excited.
Yes. Right.
Often, too, in my office, even when whether I'm doing Reiki or psychotherapy, what I'll do in between each client is I'll take the Palo Santo and I'll cleanse.
It's a beautiful scent.
Oh, yeah. And people walk in, they're like, it smells amazing. Like, I don't even smell it anymore, but thank you.
Right. Exactly.
So let's talk more about how we can get connected to our authentic self. How can we do that through Reiki? Just kind of getting more, or in general, connected to our authenticity.
First of all, it's about self-love.
Yep.
You know, people don't understand that you don't have to be humble about loving yourself. When you love yourself truly, then you have love to offer to other people. Again, you know, we live in such stressful times, and nobody is really taking the time to be.
Yes.
Just to be, never mind their authentic self. They just, you know, they come home from work. And I was guilty of this originally. You know, I would come home from work, had the high heels on, trying to help my kids with homework, you know, and then it was to bed, and there was none of that connection with myself.
Yeah.
It's so important to be able to do that.
It's essential.
It's
really,
essential.
really is. How about like even with mindfulness? I mean, how can mindfulness be used like through Reiki or through Reiki energy healing? Because I feel like they both go hand in
They
hand,
do.
right? You're practicing mindfulness. You're being very authentic to yourself and your needs of others. But what would you
With
say to that?
meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation, which is another thing. And you know, many people believe that you have to meditate with your eyes closed. That is not necessarily true.
That's very
Deepak
true.
Chopra talks about how you can do that with your eyes open.
Yes.
And
He's
it's
amazing. Yes.
amazing.
Amazing.
And sometimes I like to do it with a crystal.
Oh, yes.
On myself,
And
just to-
meditate. Hold them sometimes in the palm of your hand.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it kind of gets you more focused.
Yes. Grounds you.
Absolutely.
Very centering. Very true.
But you know, the cell phone has to go off.
Yes, definitely.
It has to be quiet.
You wanna close off all of that outside noise.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just be.
And we block our own chakras with all of that stuff that goes on. You know, the phone, the computer, there's just who are we?
Yeah.
You know, it's finding out like who we are,
Yeah.
where we came from.
And and just be. When you say just be, I mean that's literally all there is to it. Just be.
Right.
And I tell people all the time too, when they're talking about meditating, do I have to have it with my eyes closed? Do they have to be open? Do I have to do it for hours a day? I'm like, no.
No, you could do 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes will make the biggest difference in your life.
Absolutely.
Very, very true.
It's also important for children.
Yes.
You know, I am going to be teaching a Reiki class for children.
Oh,
And I have to tell you, you know, we think about all of this in terms of our being adults, but it's the children.
that also, yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
And how about even in reference to, let's say with the children, like, well, I'm going to bring up this theme a little bit here, the indigo children. Like, is that kind of something that you're going to be connecting into?
It's very interesting.
It is, right? I was like, I got to pull that one out.
These things just like they fall into my path without my even realizing what's going on. And I did all of a sudden start to get a lot of children
Yeah.
that were coming to me. And I'm only in the beginning of my research. But in the 60s, Nancy Ann Tapp is the one who first discovered children that were indigos. And it was done through Curlion photography.
Wow.
Which actually, you know, can measure,
Yes.
you know, your auric field.
Yes.
I understand they're actually using it now in medicine for
That's what I've heard.
preventative medicine.
Yes.
And she found that with these children, they had like an indigo, like a bluish indigo hue around them.
Wow.
I have to tell you, these children are fascinating because they are really here to take us back to who we once were. But they are natural children living in an unnatural world.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, many of them get misdiagnosed
Yes.
with ADD and ADHD.
Yes.
They really cannot take fluorescent lighting,
Yep.
processed food. They have a connection with plants, with animals, with rocks.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of them see what many people don't see.
Yeah.
And then when they go to school and they talk about it, right away there's an
like-
issue because
exactly.
you know, what do you
What's
mean?
going on? What's
Right.
happening here? Yeah. It's interesting. I'll never forget the first time we spoke on the phone when we were talking, which was the universe just spoke to us. That's how we connected
Right.
initially. But I remember you saying, you're an indigo. You're an indigo child. Did you know
Absolutely.
that? And then I looked it up and I'm reading about it. I'm like, whoa, that's definitely me.
Yes.
That's exactly, that makes a lot of sense.
They found that predominantly indigos were born after 1980.
Well,
Although there were some of us, and I'll put myself into that category, that were born in the 1950s to lead the way for them.
that's what, yes.
They're beautiful children.
Amazing.
They're beautiful children.
I love that.
Yeah.
What would you, to kind of switch gears a little bit here, what are the most, and actually this could speak to children too, receiving Reiki, but what are the most common experiences, emotions, or feelings when working towards like an enlightenment or a spiritual awakening to balance and wellness? Like what's some of those things that come, what are some of the themes that might come up?
You know, I heard an expression that pain is the touchstone to spiritual progress.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, to become enlightened is to really own
Yep.
and understand ourselves and the world around us. You know that I'm very into quantum theory.
Yes.
Einstein died denying quantum theory, which is that, you know, our information travels faster than the speed of light. And so there is this communication that is constantly going on. But sometimes we may want something, and the answer is no.
Yeah.
And I think that people have a very hard time really accepting that. You know, sometimes when you get to be my age, you start to connect the dots. And, you know, you think about sometimes things that happen that are not pleasant, but then you can start making the connection
Yes.
to what was the outcome of all of that. And you understand that there really was something else that was working in our favor,
Something bigger.
much bigger.
You know, I always say that all the time. My line is that feeling is healing. And once you allow yourself to feel, it all kind of flows organically.
Yes.
And you work into something bigger, something bigger than you even thought was possible.
Exactly. Well, you know, there's also a belief. You know, the third chakra is about us. It's about our, you know, our ego, the center of our belief system, and that we are starting to move away from the third chakra to the fourth,
Yep.
which is the heart chakra, which has to do with love and forgiveness.
Yes.
And that's really where we need to be.
Yeah, that's where we need to sit. Yeah, I agree.
You know, how important is it? You know, that expression, would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? You know, is it really important to take a stand sometimes?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
I have a pretty big loaded question here for you.
Okay.
And I know you can handle it.
Okay.
So I was going to kind of ask you, what would be let's say the best advice or the something that you'd want someone to take, like this generation, to kind of hear from you? What kind of advice, or what would you give them? What would you want them to know? Because you know, you are my mentor, and you have words of wisdom all the time. That crown chakra is just lit up. So let's share that with our viewers.
The most meaningful thing you will ever have in life is your relationship with other people, with family, with friends. There is nothing like being able to look at someone and to say, you know, I love you, I care about you, I'm there for you. Understanding that something like Reiki is about touch.
Yes.
And you cannot do that through a text message.
No, right?
I just really feel like this generation is really missing human contact.
Yes, I agree.
So if that helps, you
I
know,
think it
shut
will.
off those cell phones and start, you know,
Just tap
getting
away from
close
it.
to people. Yes.
Yes. I think that also goes with when I asked that question, I'm thinking to myself, like, what would I say? And I'd probably use the concept of mindfulness. Like sometimes you just need to be, because the generation now is, whether it's the social media, their text messages, I mean, you're just always going.
It's terrible.
Slow it down. You just
Right.
got to slow it. You know what I say to people all the time? That, well, these little moments, if you're not in these little moments, believe it or not, these little moments are what make up your life.
Absolutely.
It's everything.
It is absolutely the truth.
Just be.
Yes,
Right.
just be.
Just be. what would we also kind of, like, let's say if we were talking about this concept of kind of just being, how would that intertwine with practicing Reiki when we're saying we just want to be self-Reiki even? How do we practicing just being when we're doing self-Reiki?
Well, self-Reiki is actually a wonderful modality because Reiki is not something you can use just on other people.
I love it.
It's something you can use on yourself. It's something that I certainly do on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing self-Reiki, you're bringing that energy and that peacefulness into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, starting with your crown chakra, and you can just, you know, feeling it go
Let it
through
flow.
you. Yes.
Bring it up, yeah.
But you know, we also have to try to get away from the phones and the noise and take your shoes off, walk in the grass.
Yeah, earthing, just be. Yeah, just be there, yes.
Yes, it's
very true.
Yeah, because when you have your shoes off and you're connecting with the earth, you're connecting your first chakra.
Yes. And
Your
that makes
connection to nature and to the earth.
It makes you feel very,
Oh, it's wonderful.
yeah, I love that. How would, let's say the audience get in contact with you, where would they find your information, like share all that great stuff with everyone?
Well, right now, Infinite Possibilities, which is a health and wellness center, we have 7 offices.
Yep.
And the focus with Infinite Possibilities is health.
Mm-hmm.
Universal Healing Arts, I'm very excited, by the way, because we're purchasing a building.
Yes.
And right now you could actually find out through the website, universalhealingarts.com,
Okay.
my phone number,
Okay.
my email, which is shima@universalhealingarts.
Okay, perfect.
And, you know, I'm hoping to bring in a lot of these beautiful modalities to be able to offer to the community.
I'll be there.
Yes, I know you will.
So I wanted to say thank you, honestly, for you. I'm so beyond grateful and honored that you were here and part of this first episode. This was really fun and exciting and very informative, for me, and I'm sure as the viewers as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Really fun.
Yes, it was.
And I also want to say thank you to our beautiful audience for being part of our first episode. We're really privileged to have you a part of our show today. And until next time, love, light, and healing to everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.